do that anymore.
Don't need to do that anymore. We got Max's fancy camera. Good. How you been? It's been fucking ages, hasn't it?
So long. I know. A whole month and a bit.
I'd say like 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it was, well, the last episode we did like, was it a week or two before Christmas? And it's been 4 weeks since Christmas.
Yeah.
So we've been both busy, haven't we?
Very busy.
Trying to sort stuff out for the new year and make sure 2023 is hit with a big bang. So we've not really done an episode yet, but here we are back on the casting couch.
Yeah.
You're looking fresh.
Starting with season 2. My haircut isn't, hence the hat.
Is it not?
No,
Go on.
I'm due next week.
Show the lid.
It's just hat hair, you know.
Just better than mine, mate. At least it's not slipping off the back. So essentially, because it's been so long, we were just going to have a bit of a catch up this episode. You went to... Did you go to London?
Yeah. So I've been coaching a professional mixed martial artist. He fights in...
I've been seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Matt?
Matt Bonner, yeah.
Matt Bonner.
So, yeah, I was coaching him in Athlete Factory for 10 weeks leading up to his fight, which he won down in London in BT Sports Studios, which was a wicked experience.
So what's that, UFC?
It's the one below UFC. So you've got UFC, which is like the premiership of mixed martial arts, and then Cage Warriors is like the one leading up to that.
Okay.
He's an ex-world champion and he's trying to regain his title.
Right.
So Cage Warriors is basically where Paddy Pimblett came from.
I was going to say Paddy the Baddy did some...
Conor McGregor came from Cage Warriors. Molly McCann.
Yeah.
All those big names all come from Cage Warriors to go into UFC.
Is that like Bellator? Is that similar to Bellator?
I don't know what Bellator is.
No, okay.
I'm not sure, but yeah, so I coached him up to his fight.
Yeah.
And then went down to... It's at the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park where they had the Olympics in London. So I had the weekend there. I did a little vlog on it, so go check out my YouTube.
Did you? Have you got YouTube?
Yeah, didn't you know that?
No, I didn't know you had a YouTube. I'll check that out. Everybody check out Max's YouTube. Let's plug it. What is it?
Plug it. I think it's just my name, Max Imbrie. It's I'll link it in the bottom. So I did a little vlog on that over the weekend, really, because I went to see some mates as well that live down there.
Very nice.
And yeah, so that he won that fight. When was it? It was in like December time, sometime in December. Then he's
That's literally how long it's been since we've seen each other.
It's mental.
We are mates. We're busy people.
Yeah. So. Well, you were away in Somerset, and then I was
doing fuck all.
pretending to be busy.
So you're coaching with him. Obviously, you coach all sorts of athletes, don't you? But typically, I know you coach rugby. Team
sports mainly, but he's the first athlete that I've had that's like an event. As an event. So there's no like body management or anything. You're just doing your strength and conditioning to peak for the event. Yeah. So similar to athletics.
So did he approach you? Did you approach him?
So there's a guy who's invested in Athlete Factory and he's got quite a lot of fighters.
Which is where you're working.
Which is where I'm working. Yeah. So he basically, there's one athlete, Matt, needed to work on his speed a little bit. Okay. I specialise in speed and acceleration. And that was an area of a bit of work on for him, so just making sure that he's moving quickly and he's quite reactive. And the satisfying thing was when I went to watch his fight, his family and his like support team around him were saying he looked a lot faster in the fight, which is good. Yeah, this means I'm doing the right thing. But,
good. So what in terms of like movement for takedowns or like movement for punches?
So what we've been working on is his first 5 steps. So first 5 steps in his acceleration, which is relevant to a takedown. So if you're sparring, if you're boxing, and you want to go for a takedown, that acceleration to go and tackle him to the floor is those first it's probably only first 3 steps or so into that contact. That's what we've been working on.
Right.
But we've also been working on just his general speed as well. So like how fast he's moving the bar. So things like even just a power squat, so a back squat,
Yeah.
we've got a bar velocity tracker on the bar, so we can see that he's moving the bar at the right speed for the amount of weight that he's lifting. So that'd be a percentage of his 1 rep max. And then
so
we'll
what
just try and
you
move that
change the weight on what's the bar to make it go
it
with a certain
move.
speed?
Yeah, exactly that. So we're trying to hit, 1 meter per second essentially for a back squat.
Yeah.
And anything under that,
Right.
and then we're just trying to challenge the weight for
That's
that.
pretty
So
interesting.
it's quite well. For face value, it sounds quite complicated, but it's not actually too complicated. Once you've done it once, it's quite simple.
Yeah.
It's literally just put some weight on, try and move it as fast as you can. If it's a bit slow, then take some weight off. If it's a bit quick, then put some weight on. It's not too complicated, but it's just basically the programming for that and working with him just to make him a bit quicker and a bit more.
And you were doing that like across his whole program?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I only saw him once a week, and then he's got other strength and conditioning coaches that work on the more like MMA specific stuff. Like I'm not an MMA expert by any means, so I was just purely working on his speed. So, but it was interesting because it translates quite well, especially like we're rugby players.
Yeah,
takedown is just a rugby tackle for a lot of for the most part.
Yeah.
There are other methods and techniques you can use, but in terms of just a simple takedown, it's really the same as a rugby, except you're from more of a standing start.
Just a separate part that you could get punched or kneed in the face at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It's more complicated than that, but
no, it sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
Are you looking to take on more fighters? What you're?
Yeah. So weirdly today I had he's actually a rugby mate who does like white collar stuff. So white collar is just like non-professional, like amateur boxing, I suppose. But he's got a white collar event coming up soon, so I'm programming him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably look to take on more now I've got the experience in it.
Yeah. I think that's it. Once you've done it once with somebody, you gain the confidence that actually, and you've seen the effects that you've trained him.
Yeah.
His family have given you that, that positive feedback.
Yeah.
He's won a fight. I mean, I'm not putting it all to you, but at the same time, I'm sure it helped, and I'm sure him training in his speed gives that like positive reinforcement as well.
Absolutely,
that actually he's trying to get quicker. He's putting in the effort, and actually it's
like strength and conditioning. Like it's quite a broad subject, I suppose. So I'm not doing anything that's MMA specific. Like I might try and tailor the exercises that we do a little bit more tailored towards the movements that you might do in a fight. For example, with his bench press, rather than going all the way down to his chest, because you're not going to throw a punch like this. You throw a punch from your shoulder. We were doing using a block. So putting a block on his chest here. It's probably about 3 inches thick or whatever.
It's about 6 inches then.
I knew you were going to say something like that. But yeah, putting a block there, so he's only going to so far, so it's kind of simulating a punch a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's just things like that you can manipulate a little bit.
I see. You're trying to emulate certain movements.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we were kind of having conversations, and it was interesting because over the 10 weeks, and I'm training him again now for his next fight. We started a couple of weeks ago.
That's cool.
And over those 10 weeks we had conversations about certain things, and I was asking him questions on certain techniques that he might use for certain things, which kind of gives me more ideas and shut the fuck up. More ideas of like things that we can do. So like this fight that we're leading up to now, I've got some sort of slightly different exercises that we can integrate into it that will be, again, more specific. So if anything, it should be better than last time.
So if you're training in with like back squat speed and obviously the bench press, were you doing sort of like whole body sessions with him, or especially if you're only doing once a week? Like how are you tailoring your sessions then?
It's once a week for my session, but he does have other sessions that are strength and conditioning based. Yeah, if that makes sense. So I'm not the only one who works with him. But the sessions that we do are more strictly speed based, right?
So more the running speed, or the more
just the speed of bar movement. So is not like we do a bit of acceleration work, but it's also mainly like how fast he can throw a punch. That's why we're doing like the power sort of bench press and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that, because it's the speed of the bar.
Yeah.
So like developing his fast twitch fibers and that kind of thing.
Well, that's it. They can't. They're sort of get my words out. They're in a category, aren't they? They're in a weight category. There's no point building necessarily cross-sectional muscle size because that's going to gain their weight, which might potentially put them in a different category. But if you're trying to increase that power output, that speed to weight ratio, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
That's going to deliver the most effect, especially if
Definitely.
they're punching someone in the face.
Exactly. It's exactly that. So he does 3 to 4 S&C strength and conditioning sessions per week.
Right.
And then around that, he's got his technical sessions where he's sparring or if he's doing some floor work or whatever.
Nice.
So he's doing quite a lot, and he runs his own gym at the same time. So he's quite a busy guy. So
busy boy.
It's
obviously rubbed off on you. You've taken up a bit of.
I've started
jiu-jitsu.
I'm 2 lessons in, so I'm an expert now.
Yeah. Black white belt.
Yeah.
A zebra belt.
Yeah. I'm. Yeah. Definitely.
How's it going?
It's interesting,
Yeah.
It's so satisfying because I've played rugby since I was like 13, and so I'm hopefully somewhat competent at it.
Yeah.
But it's really enjoyable and satisfying being a novice at something. So when you do learn something, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like in rugby, you go to a rugby training session, you might like develop a skill that you already know, but you're just drilling it.
Yeah.
So the kind of the technical improvements are very, very minute. It's like 0.5% or whatever.
But because you're right at the start of it, any sort of technical improvement is a leap.
If you drill one move in a session and you've learnt that move and you can execute it, you're not well drilled at it because you've only done it for one session, but you've learnt it. But then you can use it when you go for a roll, and it's really nice to just learn a new skill and a new
I'm
sport.
the same, like I've been toying with the idea of this being my last year of rugby. I mean, I've always said to myself 30 was the time I'd think about hanging up my boots. I'm 27. I don't want to do it too early because I don't want to miss that social aspect, but I'm also like I like you. I want that learning a new skill.
Yeah.
I want to do something combat-esque, whether it's like kickboxing. I thought about jiu-jitsu, but I don't know. I'd quite like to punch something rather than roll around with someone. So
I get that.
I don't know, but it's that learning a new skill, isn't it? Like I'm always trying to push myself to learn something new, whether it's mentally or spiritually. But I think a new sport would certainly
help that.
Yeah.
It's. Well, I mean, we're both kind of in the same situation, I suppose, with rugby, but we both play sevens, so that's something that we will carry on doing. So I think you'll scratch the itch of playing rugby.
Yeah, and it's in the summer with your mates, with a couple of beers.
Yeah, it's such a good vibe.
Yeah, much better. Whereas rugby at the moment, like these last couple of weeks in the rain and the snow,
it's a bit chore, isn't it?
Yeah. Back in the day when you'd be like, oh, this is shit, but I'm having a great time. Now I'm like, oh, I'm just getting injured all the time.
Yeah.
And it's cold and it's wet.
We're getting older.
Exactly. But no, certainly. I think I might take it up. It's just whether, do I see out the rest of the season? Or do I go and give it a go? What are your thoughts?
I reckon see out the rest of the season.
See how it goes. See how much I enjoy it. Thing is, it always tails off with a nice ending, and I always miss it at the end.
Yeah. But you think of it this way: would you want the last game you played to be the last one? Like, do you know what I mean? Like that performance and that feeling and stuff.
What, as in literally my last game?
Yeah.
Nah. I had to go off. I had an injured leg.
There's your answer there, isn't it?
What's to go out on a high? Yeah.
Just wait until you have a good game.
Yeah, just wait until I have a good
game. You'll never retire then.
I see what you did there. Nah, we'll see where we're at the end of the season. I think the missus is keen for me to give it up, but I'll do it off my own volition.
Yeah. It's interesting, that psychology of sport, though, isn't it?
It is.
Because I think my mentality towards it is kind of evolving into like sevens, and then doing something else as a separate hobby.
I think that's it. Like you, I've done it from a young age. And when I was younger, I used to play football and rugby. I had the variation of doing 2 sports. I was also playing hockey, cricket, tennis.
You can't do that
whilst I was at school.
I've been older, can you?
And now I've got older. Since 18, all I've played is rugby. And then you're not getting that variation of anything. You know, you play the odd game of tennis or whatever in the summer, but even in summer, I'm playing sevens. So I would quite like to learn some martial arts or something like that.
And if you're going to do martial arts, you're better off doing it when you're younger. Do you know what I mean? It's not
before.
It's not like you retire at bloody 40 and then you want to start getting into this like a combat sport where you're getting your leg up here and
Well, that's part of the reason why I'm like, do I do jiu-jitsu where I can actually roll around the floor, or do I try and get my leg up there to do some kickboxing?
Trying to kick someone in the head like
I'm not mobile at all, so it's probably not the best, but I might just stick with boxing. Break my nose even more.
No.
Nah.
You can't make it worse, though, can you?
No, you can't. That's why I face this way.
This is my good side.
All good. No, but it's been good to catch up.
It has been good to catch up. We've got some good guests lined up on the go, so they might. It's probably a good idea not to like say it'll be the next episode, because it might not. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
But they'll come when they come.
They'll come when they come.
That's what she said.
We'll leave it at that. Take care, guys. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
Hey, actually, just on a side note, guess who's off to Italy in a couple of weeks?
Are you?
I am.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm going to watch the France versus Italy game.
Yeah.
First week of Six Nations. So, yeah.
Nice.
See you then.